the fact that your returns and you and your client were criminally investigated, is that a red flag that someone might not be doing their job correctly?
It's a red flag, but I don't know the source.
So you believe that the investigation was whether you were in collusion to criminally violate the statutes with Sam and or Charlene?
Or someone else.
Do you have an explanation why the correct return is nearly $1 million different than the return you first prepared and several $100,000 different from your amended return?
Would you ask the question a different way?
I'll ask the court reporter to repeat it. Well, you checked the bank statements too, didn't you?
Yes.
How did you get the number wrong on the amended return when all you had to do was add the money in the bank to the 1099-K? How did you get that number wrong?
I don't know that I got it wrong. I prepared a reconciliation that was extraordinarily close to the numbers reported on the 1099-Ks and deposits. I had a schedule on that in the file.
Charlene trusted you, correct?
I believe she did trust me.
She sent you tips.
That's correct.
So you know for certain that she trusted you.
I don't know for certain that she trusted me, but I felt that she did.
Did you trust Sam Phillips at this time?
I can't say either way that I would trust or not trust him. I was told to take his documents and his numbers and use them.
You don't trust him today, right?
I don't know whether to trust him or not. I don't know if he prepared all that or if he was influenced. I have no idea.
Why didn't you bring these errors up to Charlene and tell her, I'm concerned, I think you ought to check over the figures?
Mostly because Charlene gave this power to Sam to give me the information for the tax return. She would not have known the difference there. She would have told me to call Sam.
It sounds like she relied on Sam completely.
I would say yes.
And it sounds like, except with such an obvious error, your own bill, you relied on Sam pretty much.
I relied on the information that he faxed me. Yes, that's correct.
So if Sam didn't tell her about these mistakes and you didn't tell her about these mistakes, how would she know about the mistakes that Sam made?
She probably would not have known. I think, we talked about it a time or two, but not every year.
You knew that Sam was doing real estate deals with her, correct?
I didn't know he was doing real estate deals with her. I knew he acquired mortgages for her.
Okay. You did not know that he was brokering deals for her and charging her a 50% commission?
Absolutely not. Did not know.
But you would have gone to her office personally if you'd have known that he was charging her a 50% commission, because that would have been something pretty important.
Absolutely, yes.
Wouldn't you have said that as a CPA you're familiar with the normal and customary commissions? They range from 3 to 6% or so, and that this is outrageous?
I would have said that, yes. But I was not aware of it.
If he did all of her record keeping, he's her bookkeeper, no?
Not necessarily.
Okay, tell me the difference between the record keeper and the bookkeeper.
Record keeper keeps papers that support information. A bookkeeper keeps a more organized listing of things and does, say, a QuickBooks or a Peachtree or some sort of records spreadsheet, and I'm not aware if Sam did or didn't do any of those things.
So in your practice, it's customary and normal for a client to have a separate record keeper from their bookkeeper?
No.
Do you have another client that has that same arrangement where they have a separate record keeper and a separate bookkeeper?
No.
So don't you find that extraordinary?
It's not for me to judge what happened.
Well, isn't it in fact under the AICPA your duty to judge that?
I don't believe so.
Is Charlene honest? You have an opinion as to her honesty?
Goodness. Have no reason to believe one way or the other, unfortunately.
After 40 years of doing her tax returns, you can't vouch for her honesty.
No.
But in writing, she vouches for you.
That she has presented me.
Bonuses,
Oh,
tips, love letters.
yeah. Well, I don't know if that's relating to honesty, but she felt I was due more than I had billed for, and that was very nice.
And you agreed with her because you kept the money,
Correct.
including the years she was investigated. You and she and Sam were investigated by the Criminal Division of the Internal Revenue Service. You kept the extra money for those years too.
I don't believe I received extra money in
She
those
didn't
years.
give you a tip for 2008.
Oh, well, it was never investigated in 2008 at that time.
You will agree with me that if the bank accounts and the transcript had been used on the amended return, you would have filed a correct return. Right or wrong?
I did file the return based on the 1099-Ks. I was not given access to the bank statements. I believe those were some of the items that were eaten by rats, lost in an attic with mold, blown away with a hurricane, that sort of thing.
Why not just get them from the bank then?
We did get some of them from the bank, but not all of them were available because of their records.
Okay, well, how did you provide them to the IRS if they'd been destroyed and you couldn't get them all back from the bank?
What was available was sent in a box to the IRS. There's either 3 or 4 courier times to the IRS on my billing, which you probably saw, where I did ship them over there. The ones that were not available, we couldn't produce them.
The bank prepares the statements so that you can reconcile.
They prepare a statement, that's true.
You didn't get the statement.
I got some statements, yes.
So you signed the tax return saying that it was complete to the best of your knowledge, knowing for certain that it was not complete to the best of your knowledge because you had not gone through all of the bank records.
Objection. You can answer.
Okay. I went through the bank records that were made available to me.
Apologize if I'm not being clear. You're saying that some of the records weren't made available to you?
On some years, I had all the records. On some years, I did not have all the records.
Well, then you can't file a tax return if you don't have all the records necessary to file the tax return, right or wrong?
If I had the records, obviously it went in the return. If I did not have the records, I took the information provided by Charlene's appointed person, Sam Phillips.
You knew that you didn't have all the records. You knew you could get them from the bank, and you signed the...
No, sir.
You did not know you could get them from the bank.
No, I knew I could get them from the bank. We asked from the bank for everything they had. There were some records that were not available through the bank even.
The bank had lost the records? You have some written documentation where you asked the bank for the records?
I
and
didn't
they-
ask the bank for the records, Sam did.
Oh, I see.
And I do have a written document somewhere in my records that says that certain things were not available because of
From Sam or from the bank?
from Sam.
So
Via
Sam
the bank.
tells you that you can't have all the records because the bank can't provide all the bank's records,
That's correct.
and you accept that and file the tax returns.
That's correct.
You know from your experience that the IRS is going to subpoena the bank records, don't you?
Correct.
And you know the bank is going to somehow have them all when they ask for them, correct?
I don't know. I don't know where they got their numbers from.
You don't know where the bank got their numbers?
I don't know that they got everything from the bank. I don't know if the bank provided IRS everything, and I don't know where the amended CPA got his records from. That's,
Well, you have a degree in finance.
yes,
And you know that the bank records weren't destroyed in the hurricane.
no, I do not know that.
You don't know that they're on a computer with safety storage.
Well, that may be, but the actual original documents were either destroyed, lost, misplaced.
Fine. All the records are destroyed, lost, misplaced. You can get identical copies through the bank computers, and that's what the IRS subpoenaed.
Well, and we got most of those, and that's why I sent boxes to the IRS of those bank statements.
And the IRS went to the bank and found out you hadn't given them all the records
That I did not know.
because you didn't look at the transcript. You didn't ask for it.
I did not ask for the transcript.
You do not have any obligation under AICPA rules, under Circular 230, and under your CPA rules and regulations to use some independent judgment about determining whether a third party record keeper or bookkeeper is being competent.
Not in the form that you used, no. There's no way to judge competency of a third party, especially if you're not responsible for what goes to that person.
Exhibit 11. He's created his own form, Exhibit 11, Part 451.
Right?
Sam Phillips has created his own unique form, 941. He sent you a copy of this unique form because
All of that's
apparently Sam feels that the federal government can't create their own form, but he's wrong. They do create
they
a
do have
correct
their own
form. The correct form is a 941X.
Okay.
You're accepting my representation on that because you're not certain if the correct form is a 941X.
It has changed over the years. It used to be a 941C, and I believe now it is a 941X, so it depends where this happened timing-wise.
Fair enough. But in this calendar year, it definitely wasn't handwriting amended on the top. That was wrong.
But if IRS accepted it,
Did they accept it?
I don't know, because I do
you-
not do their payroll
I
tax
understand.
reports.
But you were hired to fix that.
No, I was not.
Well, you billed for fixing it.
I did not bill for fixing it.
You billed for helping him fix it.
To tell him where to get the numbers to make the correction, yes.
Okay. And so going back to my question, isn't this proof on its face that Sam Phillips was incompetent?
No, it means he just didn't look into what should have been filed and file appropriately in the first place. He may have been incompetent, but I can't tell you that from this.
So are you saying today under oath that that's a competent amended 941?
I just don't think that that's an appropriate question. I wasn't hired to do 941s or make corrections on them.
And I apologize if my questions aren't satisfactory to you, but I just have to do the best that I can.
understand
and then a judge decides whether the questions are appropriate or not. We don't. Who was representing Charlene May 9th, 2014 when Sam sent you this?
I'd have to check my dates, but it still could have been me.
Well, if it wasn't you, why would he send this to you? Do you know?
Oh, he sent things to me all the time.
Did you, after receiving this, notify Charlene that all of her returns were incorrect?
No, I did not.
Did you send a copy of this to Charlene?
No, I did not.
And you don't remember using it to protect Charlene in the audits or the criminal investigation?
I may have, but I just honestly don't remember.
So, based on those assumptions, he's receiving at least $3,000 a month. He's receiving free rent in a condominium in Vegas, and God knows what else. Based on that, it's your opinion as a CPA that he's required to file tax returns, correct?
Yeah, I'm not his CPA, but with just those items, he should file a tax return. If it's over $600, he's required to.
And if he's not filing, you would agree that he is not an honest man.
Well, he would be breaking the law. So that would be probably not an honest man.
And you would agree that nobody should hire somebody like that to do bookkeeping.
I'm not able to answer that.
You're not willing to go that far.
Right.
Maybe it's all right to hire a dishonest person to do your bookkeeping.
No. I'm not saying that.
You're not going to take a position on that one way or the other.
That's correct.